Hi everyone and welcome to my channel Hisame Artwork. See, I have 0 people watching, which is great because I'm gonna start this stream a little bit differently today. I had some people ask me for a specific little tutorial, so I'm gonna do that first while the audience gathers, and then I'm gonna clip that off and put it as a separate video. So this is a little tutorial about how to color if you don't have a pen tablet, and a couple of friends and family have asked me to do this little tutorial, so here it is. Now if I'm using here the program Clip Studio Paint, which is a program especially designed for comic book coloring, and then I'm gonna go show you in Photoshop. And here the ink. So what Clip Studio Paint has is a layer detection here in the bucket tool. So it takes into the consideration the layers above, and above it I have a ink layer is the Lineart, and it is vector. You can see here you can do a very detailed vector line art in Clip Studio Paint. Is just amazing for this. So let me just take out a previous page so I have the correct colors. And I just use the eyedropper. I press Alt key and I select the color, and then I go here and I just click it. Boom, there it is. And I'm just using the bucket tool to color this line art. It is very simple. Now in Photoshop you don't have this, so this is the same line art as you can see here. And if I go and make a layer for the colors underneath, like I did in Clip Studio Paint, so this is color, this is ink. Here it's all a raster, it's no longer vector. If I scale this, it'll become pixelated. You need to scale it a little bit more to see on the screen. I can see it, but you probably guys can't see it. So now if I do the same thing I did in Clip Studio Paint, it colors the whole page. Let's see my OBS. It's still recording. Okay. Sometimes it crashes, so I need to check. So what you can do is select the layer and go on and color like this. But then again, the shapes aren't closed, so you need to close the shapes. And so I'm gonna take one that is already closed here to show you as an example, and if I go on the layer underneath, there, I can color it. It needs to be less dark. And press undo and then color again. And then you have to select each and one of these. Now that's going to be really time consuming, so what you can do is just duplicate the layer and make one of these the color, and then you just fill in the colors. And if you uncheck the ink layer, you're coloring on that ink layer. But you would still want to have them separately in case you want to edit something. It's best to have the ink and the color layer separately in case you want to remove some details or want to change some things. As you can see, it has gone over the line art, and it's best to have them separately. Now if you don't have a tablet to make the line art, what you can do is, let's say, draw it with pencil on paper, and then take it into a vector program. Like Illustrator, here I'm using Adobe Illustrator. You can use Clip Studio Paint, or and Inkscape. Inkscape is free. Let me show you. Inkscape. So this is Inkscape. This is their icon, and it's a free vector program. You can use Illustrator. You can use Clip Studio Paint. For making line art, for me it's most easy to do if I want to do vector line art without the pen tablet, because let's say my pen tablet is broken, or I don't have it with me and I need to do a line art vector. One way that you can do is let's see, I'm gonna take the opacity to 50. And I'm gonna lock the layers so that I can draw. Now this isn't ideal, I wouldn't recommend it. I think the best way to do any line art is with a pen tablet, and nowadays they've gotten really cheap, like a pen tablet from Wacom, the bamboo, secondhand on eBay, can be $50, and if you're in the US, it's super convenient with the transport. If you're not, it's a bit more difficult. No, I don't want ink. I want calligraphy, more or less. So you gotta select the brush before the brush icon tool works. And you can do line art here with this one. You can select the filling to be white, and then you can remove points that you made too many. Select the thickness, and now you pretty much have the basic shape of the face. Another way you can do it is with straight lines. And kind of build each one of these. You can select kind of the line, a lot of characteristics for it. Now not all of the vector programs are gonna have as many options for vector illustration, or they have different options. Like Clip Studio Paint has other options that are a lot better, and I prefer to do my line art there. You can erase part of this. And this is about it. You have much more control in drawing in a program like Clip Studio Paint, and also it makes it a lot more lively. Of course, you can do a lot of awesome paintings in Illustrator. There are plenty of examples on the internet. It's just that this program is not specialized for painting. It's specialized for vector graphics, making logos and other things like that, icons for applications and menus and so on and so forth. And you can color it directly from here, like you can say give them green eyes, and then you can do the shading differently. Let's say you can do it a gradient. The eyes. So you can get pretty detailed in Clip Studio Paint as well. For painting I prefer Clip Studio Paint because it has some things that Photoshop doesn't, and also Photoshop has some advantages over Clip Studio Paint, but overall I prefer to use Clip Studio Paint because it just has so many more advantages over the other programs. But if you don't have a tablet and you have only a vector program or only Paint Tools or free programs like this, this is one way that you can do some kind of minimalistic drawings that still look okay, and you can still make a story and get your characters and the message and the whole narrative across to the people on the internet if you want to post these. You can also publish these in print format, like now I've worked RGB and CMYK color format is for print. So you can also set your color mode here and in Photoshop as well, and also all the graphic programs pretty much have this, and you can choose which one you want. Okay, so that was it for this little tutorial. I'm gonna end it here and continue with coloring the comic book pages from my story, Niels Feynman's Time Traveling Adventures. And if you wanna learn more about this, you can check out my videos on my channel, my YouTube channel, Hisame Artwork. This is Photoshop and I'm going to close it. So hopefully that's saved. I won't have to do it again and I can get back to coloring. Let's see, I have one person watching, so hi there. I'm curious if it's saved. I'm gonna check. Do I have here YouTube? Bit more to vector illustration, only a vector program or only paint 10 minutes, kind of long. Oh well. Where are you? Clip Studio Paint, there we go. I'm gonna put the masks on all of the layers. I have my gaming mouse. I gotta change it with the other mouse. I have a big comfortable mouse for illustration, but the middle wheel is dead. This is not great for playing video games. I've gotten so used to video games where you can rotate the map that when I'm playing a video game in which I can't rotate the map, it just seems unnatural. Actually, I don't like the sizing of this panel, so maybe be able to select it. Which one is it? This one? This one? Yep. Okay, let's see. Can I move it? Which one is it? I'm just gonna... Can I rasterize this? Where's the rasterize? There we go. And I just give up the editing options. And it's panel 3, I think. I don't need Steam eating up my bandwidth. And this one as well for panel 2. Like I can raise this a bit more. And what I like about Clip Studio Paint is you can select multiple layers and edit them at the same time. Like I've never seen any other program do this, and it's just amazing that you can cut and shape two different layers at the same time. Normally you have to select each one and do this, or like chop it and make it into different layers, and then you can select it once you separate it from the initial layer. So panel 3, 4, I want to give it more room because there's going to be text in that one. So and this one, was it? I gotta name this panel frames so I know which one it is. And the other one is just a weird mask. It's coming out of the layer. Okay. So put a mask over it and it's gonna be fine. Yep. Now that there is a cut here and it doesn't look nice. So first of all, I'm gonna color it back in. And now I'm gonna deal with the ink with the line art. Door color is not 100%, so there I changed it to 100%. And now the panels seem to be like more equal in length. Always save. Control S. Hi June, how are you? Can you hear me okay? Let's see, is it still working? Seems to be working. Yeah, you can hear me. Awesome. Bit of a headache. Oh, I'm sorry. Delete mask. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. Okay. I thought the mask wasn't good, but I didn't have a mask on this on this folder. It's always a doozy when you have so many layers. Yeah, it's okay. There we go. Move him. Now it's perfect. No, it was like this in the preview as well. See, it's you must have moved it a bit when you were adjusting some layers or something, and then kind of stayed like that. Like, it's super easy to just touch it a bit. Yeah, it's no problem. I kind of do it often as well by mistake. I'm not paying attention and I move a layer and then I can't undo because I already did some stuff and I don't want to lose that progress. But yeah, that was super easy to move back into place. So I did a little tutorial before I started the stream My sister is getting into illustration as well a bit. She's thinking of doing architecture or constructions. Like usually in Romania, if you want to work in constructions, like you gotta be a dude. And initially she was kind of thinking maybe do architecture, but she has an architecture club at her high school, but they don't do anything practical or useful. They just go around the city and look at pretty buildings, and that's kind of the extent of what they do. From the pamphlet, like she still wants to go and see if maybe they do more than that. But I had people that went at the National University of Architecture in Bucharest in Romania, and they didn't do that much school or learn very practical stuff. The ones that went at urban design, like they just could not find a job after they finished. Like they did a university that didn't teach them anything that they could use afterwards. And a lot of them went into illustration at video game companies where I worked, and I kind of ran into them. And it was the same for me. I mean, I did animation, and it was a lot worse than I thought in terms of finding a job. So I quickly switched to graphic design to do posters and banners and stuff like that, because that was a lot easier to find a job. Like for animation, I think when I entered the job market, there were like 10 animation studios that did advertising, and they're already full. They didn't need any more new employees. And at gaming companies like Electronic Arts or Ubisoft as well, the job positions were already filled by a lot older people than me. So like people that were in their 40s or something like that, 30s. And they weren't really looking for new young people, because they didn't want to teach them anything, and you didn't come out an expert out of school. At least for me, it was a lot of theory and very little practice. And even working for free, like doing your internship somewhere, like nobody was interested in taking care of you. Maybe like, take care of yourself, we're busy. And that's a really big problem. Like I would hear sometimes the older management complaining, oh, kids these days don't know anything, despite the fact that it was like a new field of work. Like all of these jobs did not exist in Romania 10 years before I entered the job market, so it was like 20 years ago. Or like was interested in entering the job market, because I think I'm 28 soon, and started working I was 21, I think, something like that. So 7 years. Wow. Like a lot of the teachers that we had, like they didn't even know how to open Photoshop or knew much about it. How are you? How is your day? I was just thinking about how old I am and for how many years I've been working. My husband was complaining the other day that he hadn't had a vacation in like a decade, and I was thinking, finished to color my October illustration. Oh, awesome. Like you did such great October illustrations. I really like how they looked. I thought it was really creative how you went with the costumes and traditional clothing. Oh, I'm sorry it's been they didn't like it. That's too bad. What didn't they like? So it was rejected but they liked it? What's the logic? Ah, for another package. Oh, okay. Oh, all's good that what it was that expression, all's well that ends well. They preferred another one. Well, that's good. They make liquids for electronic cigarettes. Wait, it's supposed to be a darker color. And I did that so I can have like white teeth for her. Even though like her skeleton is made of adamantium like stuff, but the teeth are still gonna be white. And they're supposed to look like normal doggy teeth. Yeah, your illustrations were really neat. I liked them. It's just so annoying keeping track of what everybody is doing online. On just Facebook is a nightmare. I will never stop complaining about it. I'm probably said it a bunch of times, but I'm just so annoyed with Facebook. Actually, Instagram is better for me to follow what people are doing, kind of keep track, but it's just so hard for me to comment using my tablet to write anything. And I can't share unless I regram. It's annoying. And people will think that it's my post because I posted it there, because it doesn't always write like this post is from that person or this person. It just has that little icon for the regram if you use an app that does that for you. It's a very narcissistic website. It's not an application, sorry. Social network, yeah. You work for Smoke. So for me, Instagram is very annoying. And there are just so many bots. Sometimes I'll get, enthusiastic. Oh, there's somebody new who likes my work, and maybe they have some good art as well, and I get to connect with another great artist and like share techniques and programs and stuff like that. And then it turns out it's just a bot. And they have like a bunch of spam and stuff on their page, and it's just a advertising account, and I'm like, oh no, thought you were a real human being. I don't know, did I tell you guys about the weird phone call I got from some organization affiliated with the police? It was just the weirdest conversation I have ever had in my life. And I'm not sure if it was a robot or not, but it was weird. So one day, my husband was running late because there was a new postdoc and he volunteered to show the newbie around what's what. And he wasn't answering his Facebook or whatever, and I didn't know what was going on. And here in my area, um, there are a lot of cars that drive pretty erratically. The students are looking at their phones and driving and not stopping at stops. Follow for follow on Instagram is pretty annoying. And my husband goes with his bicycle to work, so I didn't know what happened to him. And then there's a phone call from a man, and he says that he's affiliated with the police and they want to know if they have my support. And I'm like, what support for what? Because they want to bring the community together and whatnot. And I just I couldn't understand what it was about, because I've never had this kind of phone call back in Romania. Like, the police never called me on my phone, or an organization affiliated with the police. Yeah, and yeah, it was just weird. And I asked him, are you like a spam bot of some sort, or are you a human being? Because I get spam calls all the time, oh, you've won a cruise to the Bahamas, oh, you are selected for our special discount insurance and stuff like that. So I get a lot of spam calls all the time. And so I thought, this is not a real human, it's a weird spam bot from the police, or at least they're claiming to be affiliated with the police. And I asked the guy, are you a robot? And he says, I'm not authorized to give such an answer. I can only give you pre-approved answers. And I'm like, seriously? What the hell's going on? This is so weird. And I tell him, this is the weirdest conversation I have ever had. I'm not even sure if you're human. And he starts repeating that he's from this organization, he's affiliated with the police, and if they can count on my support. And I tell them, dude, I'm not a citizen, I can't vote, I can't do anything. And he says, we're not politically affiliated with any political party or something like that. And I tell him, and what do you want me to say? Like, I don't know what response you're expecting from me. And he gives another speech, like, and I try to interrupt him and ask him some more questions, but he just keeps on talking. And I'm like, I don't know what you want from me. I'm gonna hang up. And he's like, says good, and or something like that. It was a weird conversation. But a lot of things are automated here, and it just leads to weird situations like this. I mean, I don't know if he was a robot or if he just had like this really weird legislation. I mean, the laws in the US are just crazy. There are 9 states where it is illegal to collect rainwater. Like, I couldn't believe this stuff. Legal to collect rainwater. So currently 9 states have laws restricting collection of rainwater. But the severity of those laws differ. Prove that letting people collect rainwater on their property actually reduces demand from water facilities and improves conservation efforts. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if they made it illegal so that you couldn't save money on water, because everything here is private. It's not, nothing is owned by the state anymore, I think. It's not like in China or in Russia. I mean, even in Romania, the national water system that was supplying Bucharest with water has become privatized, and I think each city now has a different company that all belong to one mafia or several mafias, I don't know. So the water and electricity in Romania is no longer publicly owned, it's privately owned. And the prices have just been going up for electricity and water in Bucharest, and it's becoming more and more expensive to live there. It's just making people's lives harder. And of course they don't have like any competition um, to drive the prices down. Like, it's not a free market or whatever they want to call it. The idea, I think, was to tell people, oh, you know, it's gonna be private, so it's gonna be better. But it's not like half and half. For example, the metro system in Bucharest was very bad, and then it became half private and half public. And once it got into the private sector partially, a lot more funds were allocated, and both from the government and maybe the private put some money into it as well. But the subway system in Bucharest is really good now compared to how the bus system, transportation system was. That has been partially privatized as well, and it's doing a lot better. It's cleaner, it's safer. They have more buses coming and going, so it was improved. And also the prices have gone up quite a lot, so less and less people can afford to use the public transportation. And you know, if you have a crappy salary and need to go to work every day, it can add up and be quite prohibitive. In the buses, they don't have the possibility to block you from entering, so you can try and sneak in and hopefully not get caught by the random patrol teams that are assigned to catch people that are using the bus without paying the bill, the ticket. You can't do this in the subway because they have like those bars, and also there are guards in the subway, so you can't really sneak in and not pay the ticket. I mean, very few metro stations are not guarded. Like the central ones where there are a lot of people going in and out, those are guarded, so you can't sneak in. But like, let's say at the end of the line on some station, you might not have anybody at the desk to even sell you a ticket. Like, and some of them, they have like these ticket machines that barely work sometimes, and even if you want to be honest, you can't be. And this is a pretty annoying problem when you want to buy a ticket, because now they've gone with the card system. So if you don't have a card, you can't buy a ticket at all. You have to have a card. I don't remember how in Europe it was, because we went by car. So I have no idea how it was in the other cities. I mostly went by bicycle everywhere because I wanted to visit the cities. In Japan, it's really expensive to travel anywhere. But everything is really clean and nice and very punctual. Oyster cards. Cards, the Oyster card. You can also buy single tickets. Yeah, hopefully we'll get at some point where public transportation can be free for everyone, because it can be so annoying to get a bus ticket. In Japan, all the machines were in Japanese. You could not switch to English. Some of them had the option to switch for English, but it was in Japanese, so you couldn't know how to switch it to English. Like, you had to know Japanese in order to switch it to English. It was just ridiculous. And of course, I learned a bit of Japanese, so I could manage to read the damn thing, and yeah, it was it was an adventure for sure to travel to Japan. Some states in USA people pay bus in coins. Yeah, yeah. In Japan as well, you could pay the bus in coins, but you couldn't the subway, and there were no humans to talk to there. I mean, in Romania, you might still find a human at the cash register, but they're not gonna know English. Usually, it's not in their job description to know English. But at least, like, you have a human that you can talk to, and you can ask someone to translate, and in the end you'll find a solution. But with Japan, it was just so hard. I don't remember in which country the public transportation was free, but I would love that to be everywhere. It would make things so much easier and simpler. At least with the museums, you know, some of them are free in some periods, and if you are a student, like, you can enter for free. You still have to go get a ticket though. I mean, my main issue with this is getting the tickets and not being able to just go in and enjoy the tour. And to be honest, in some countries, I don't even know why they charge the museum, because some of it is stolen. Like the British Museum has a lot of Egyptian stuff and Indian stuff that they never asked permission to borrow. At least with the Germans, the museum was like this big event, the bust of Nefertiti, on display for a limited time on loan from the Cairo Museum. The British is free? Well, at least that. I'm glad. That's very good of them. It would be kind of awkward to ask money for stolen stuff. I paid only for the Science Museum. In Japan, I had to pay for everything, the museum, but I think, yeah. And I got a huge discount for being a student, if I remember correctly. I might be wrong, it was a long time ago, but I do remember it was pretty cheap. Like, I don't remember it being a problem. Quite affordable, yeah. This is one of the things that I do miss, living in a big European city. I'm just so used to having museums everywhere that it's kind of weird not to have them. I mean, we went to see the Capitol, the building that is the office of the Michigan State, and I could go see where the governor's office was. And I think Kid Rock is running for governor of Michigan. I think some crazy nonsense like this. Let's see. Kid Rock for governor. Governor of what? Like, which? Ah, for Senate he wants. Ah, U.S. Senate in Michigan. Okay, don't remember exactly what the Senate is. Some group of people anyway. He's not the governor. Wow, yeah. And he's going for the Republicans, and he wants to forbid transgender people to use a different bathroom than the gender they were born with, because I think they managed to pass that law in South Carolina, and now Kid Rock wants to have this law in in Michigan as well, I guess. And considering that Michigan voted Republican this time around, yeah, we might soon have this law. Yeah, Kid Rock apparently is a fervent Republican supporter. But considering his lyrics, I would not expect him to run with the Conservative Party, but I guess since Donald Trump using bad words is no longer a Democrat thing, is like for everybody. let's see, this is a little pot from page 10, I think, and I'm gonna go check and see what color it was. There we go. I was surprised how many people came to the concert, and whenever he was yelling stuff like this, the people were like, yeah! Oh yeah, we're living in interesting times. Like, I went to a concert here in the US, and there were guys, and I went to this like rock concert, so it wasn't like a, I don't know, Christian something, conservative, whatever. It was a rock and roll concert, and sorry, alternative rock or something like that. Not rock and roll. And there was a guy with a t-shirt saying everything I needed to know about Muslims I learned on 9/11. And so I was like, nah, yeah, you know what, I don't want to go to American concerts anymore. I'm good, I can stay in my home all day long. Because there were also some shootings, I don't know if you saw it on TV. There was like a massive shooting and 50 people were killed at a country music concert. So, yeah, just gonna avoid them. Just not go out of my house at all. Stay inside like a hikikomori. Yeah, and it was a rich white dude. Like, they can't even blame, oh, those darn Muslims stealing our jobs, our wives, and our precious metals. I'm kind of sad that Halloween is always very boring here because it's usually very cold and rainy. So I'm gonna have to stay inside the house. Like last night it smelled like winter, and I went out for a little walk, and it was so cold I had to go back inside the house, but people were lighting up their what's it called? Furnace? Not sure. Not a fireplace. There we go. I remembered. Oh wait, the lip goes a bit up. Didn't see it there, right? There we go. And it smelled just like winter, and I was like, oh, it smells so nice. Winter is here. Almost. Like, it's very cold. Curious, let's see. What temperature was it last night? So, let's see. Can I scroll this? Temperature night. I mean, it hasn't been in the minus yet. Can I tonight? Oh. I want it in Celsius. Can I have it in Celsius? Why is it loading? I'm not clicking on anything. Okay, so 55 Fahrenheit. Oh, 12, 13. Not pretty cold. I'll get my hoodie and all the thick pajamas out of the closet and get ready for long winter. It's been a very, very rainy year. Maybe this means I will finally have more snow, because in the past years it's been pretty depressing, like not much snow. It felt like I was back in Romania, where in winter we don't always get that much snow. And Christmas without snow for me is kind of weird. I guess it's part because of TV shows and everything like that. My expectations are that it must be snowy and beautiful and white everywhere on Christmas, but you know, in Bucharest that just wasn't possible, because you had a lot of cars and there was a lot of smog and dirt, and it was just horrible. I couldn't have like the pristine white snow I was hoping for. It was kind of funny. I was always disappointed every year. Like, why isn't there snow? Damn you, global warming. But and also, like, the teachers would say, oh yeah, when I was a kid there was so much snow and la 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 la. So I'm not sure if it's true. Like, I don't even remember ever having like a really snowy Christmas in Bucharest, which is in the south. It's in the southern part of the country, and it's southeast, so you don't get that much rainfall. It's a pretty dry area. It's not like London. And I was watching a show about a British guy living in Japan, and he said that he too didn't have much snow in England, and I was surprised. Like, I expected England to be very snowy, but according to that guy that lived around the London area, it's not. And apparently Japan gets the highest amounts of snow in the world. And it looked just amazing. So much snow. They get like 6 meters of snow in the Sapporo area, in the Hokkaido area. Like 6 meters of snow. Can you imagine that? Oh my god, it sounds so much fun, but he was saying that it's not. Yeah, in all the movies, you know, you see lots of snow and pretty scenery and all romantic, cozy, quiet, lovely scenery, and apparently that rarely ever happens. I mean, I remember, you know, with Beatrix Potter and just a lot of shows, just my expectations of the temperate areas of the world is to have like 4 seasons and thick, snowy, lovely winters, but just that just doesn't seem to happen. And it makes me wonder, was it like 100 years ago? Did they get more snowfall 100 years ago? Because now there's barely any. Okay, let's see. Aqualung. Aqualung respirator. I want to click on image. Let's see. So I can make it like yellow and black and blue. Balloon hazard that mitigates the climate. Maybe in other areas it snows more. I remember one time in late 1800s. It was so cold that the Thames was totally ice. Yeah, but that's not the normal kind of temperature. A lot of people died. And also 30 years ago there was like this massive storm that killed people in the UK and destroyed a lot of trees. It was like kind of a hurricane and then it blew over. It didn't reach full force on the ground. Yeah. No, this was the one I'm talking about was 30 years ago, but I guess it might have been another storm when you were there as well. It's a pretty windy place, doesn't seem that much fun to live there. I don't think it's a hurricane. I think it blows out before it reaches the UK, so it's no longer considered a hurricane. It's considered something else. I forgot the name. Yeah, I follow the NASA webpage, and they were talking about Ireland being hit first, and all the people in the comments were complaining, hey, what about Portugal? You know, we exist as well. We're gonna get hit pretty bad too. How about you mention us as well? Hurricane Ophelia. Might be another one? I don't remember. Trying to figure out a color for this. Was yesterday stores and schools closed in Ireland? So it already hit. That's really bad. Sorry for the people that got caught up in that. It's never fun. You know what? I'm not gonna put too much detail on it. I think that's enough. Airports, yeah. Oh, I remember the volcano erupted and a lot of airports closed down in Europe. I don't remember, was the volcano in Iceland or in Italy? Iceland. I would like to visit Iceland sometime. It just looks really interesting in the videos and in the pictures. I read that they are pretty big orange producers. I was surprised. Are quiet at the moment. That's nice. So I was like really surprised that Iceland was a big orange producer. At first I was thinking, how are they producing oranges? Like there's no light there. But apparently there's enough light. And they use thermal heat to keep the greenhouses warm. Also, I was surprised Canada is a big producer of bell peppers and tomatoes and cucumbers, and they export them to America. So Canada is supplying America with bell peppers and cucumbers and tomatoes, and they have like these huge greenhouses where everything is regulated, the nutrients, the water, the temperature, everything. And they have these really tall bell peppers that are like 5 meters tall in some places. Usually they're 3 meters tall. And to me that was just shocking because I'm used to the bell peppers my grandmother grew in her garden, and they were just really short. They would go up to my knee, and it just seemed like this surreal sci-fi scenario where you have bell peppers that are twice your height. I was surprised, really, really surprised and happy because that's a very good way to grow a lot of vegetables without pesticides and other things like that, because everything is sealed. Bell peppers, bell pepper, the usual pepper. So they call it bell pepper. It doesn't really look like a bell, but I guess we just call it ardei. And if it's a spicy pepper, then we call it ardeiute. Yep, 6 meters I think it got some places. Let me see. Greenhouse cucumber. Let's see if I can get an image. So on some tall things like this, they hook them up in greenhouses like this all the way in Canada and the US as well. And they have like these climbing. Yeah. We in Romania we have them small, like they don't grow like this. and that greenhouse was growing them on an industrial scale in Canada, so they were a lot taller than these ones. Like these ones are grown by average people in their backyards. In cold places like Michigan and Illinois and stuff like that, you can't really grow tomatoes. Even in the summer, you can't grow tomatoes outside. It's just the warm period is far too short to grow tomatoes outside. So you must use a greenhouse if you want tomatoes, if you want figs, if you want olives, if you want green tea. And greenhouse technology has gotten pretty cheap, in the sense that, yeah, I mean, if you want to grow it on an industrial scale, it will still cost you like $10 million, but I guess it's worth it for them. Like the guy in Canada says, it's $1 million investment for them. Millions of dollars, sorry, not a million. Millions of dollars investment. And they make like these huge greenhouses, and they produce pretty much year round. And like I said, for me it was weird to see bell pepper plants get that tall. I don't know if I can find an image. Let me see, because I remember I looked for it and I didn't see it on Google. I saw it in a video on YouTube. Yeah, so pretty tall as well, but they were walking in the rows, and you can see the plant was like twice the height of, almost twice the height of the people that were talking about it. So here it's pretty much the same height. Oh, there we go. Something like this. There you can see. So the plants get that high. Like you can look at this person, pretty much twice his height, and if he's like say, almost 2 meters, like that would be almost 4 meters. So not 6 meters like I said, I'm sorry. It's 4 to 5 meters. And they just don't really, I don't think they need pesticides. Like I would say that this is real organic gardening, like people like to say, with no pesticides. So the people that are growing them outside, like they can get contaminated with pesticides from neighboring farms that do use them, because if you're growing corn and any other monoculture in big areas outside, you need to spray them. Otherwise you can just lose a whole investment and be financially broke. And what happens here in the US and happens in Romania as well is that people will buy these bell peppers from big companies, and cucumbers and eggplants and anything else, and just pretend that they grew them. Like they would say, oh, it's grown in Romania, but if you look at a tag, because some of them were too lazy to remove the tag even, you can see that they were grown in Turkey or something like that. Yeah, it's called blight. Some other kinds are called rust, depending on the plant. Like corn will be affected by rust or black mold, and tomatoes will be affected by blight. Even in greenhouses, yeah, probably. I mean, because it's a monoculture, and all the plants are pretty much clones. Anything that goes in, like, will immediately spread everywhere. Well, it's better in a greenhouse because it's safe from any frost. Like that's the main advantage, I would say. And then less usage of water and so on and so forth. Like if you have money for a greenhouse, it's definitely better. I don't think my grandparents could imagine growing stuff like this. It's just something that wasn't available to them. Like even in their dreams. And it's just been so rapidly evolving the technology for growing plants like this. Because there are more and more people that need plants and food, and now everybody knows, you know, you gotta eat your vegetables to be healthy, and you can't eat just cornbread or pizza. And people do want to live longer and healthier and so on. So I think it's very good that they have these greenhouses. And they're very tasty. Like I don't see the difference in the taste for them. Like as usual, the main issue is the transportation and how long can it stay fresh on the shelf by the time I go and buy it. Is it still gonna taste good? I mean, for plants like tomatoes, if they're not ripe and juicy, they taste really bad. But there are like varieties of cherry tomatoes that can be grown pretty well, and they taste pretty good. So I haven't eaten a big tomato in 3 years, and if you add how long I lived in Romania, it would be more, because in Romania, like the tomatoes weren't great either. What are these lines here? Oh, it's the background. Got it, got it, got it. Floor. Yeah, and the agriculture in Romania is just non-existent. Like I said, they would buy tomatoes and everything from Turkey and then pretend it was grown in Romania. They like have these really ridiculously expensive cherries that were supposedly grown in Romania, but in fact they weren't. Like a lot of things were imported. I don't know why Romania doesn't grow its own food anymore. It's just we live on tomatoes. I'm happy for you. You are lucky. You have nice warm weather all the time. Romania has it as well, but it's just that there's so much corruption, and if you want to be an honest farmer in Romania, you just can't do that. Yeah, in Romania nobody's farming anymore. The pay is so bad, and uh, it's just like I said, it's a lot of corruption. Like even if you want to go and sell your stuff, you can't sell it anymore. There's in the markets, um, you have to rent the space where you sell, and uh, like everybody knows everybody there. It's like mafia of tomatoes, and they usually will like push you out and say, oh, you know, we don't have any more tables open for you to sell or something like that. And it's really hard, and you like have to pay protection taxes and stuff like that. And it's really hard to make profit and develop your farm as an independent, not being part of any group. Like in my in the area where my grandparents live, all the land was pretty much bought by one company that grows grapes and makes wine. And they also branded themselves as, you know, very good wine because that area was known for its good wine. And the wine is not that great nowadays, but like they still have that image and brand, and they bought up all the land that could be bought and automated a lot of things, so they're producing a lot of it, which, you know, is good. But all the farmers that used to cultivate there, either they lost their land because during communism a lot of it was nationalized, and then they didn't give it back, and afterwards the government sold it to private companies, and pretty much they built their company on stolen land. And they're like the farmers there that are old people now, they're never gonna see that land back. It's gone. And it's happened in a lot of places. Like both my grandparents try to get their family land back, and one was more successful than the other in retrieving land, but still, like, they didn't get everything they had before. Like a lot of the documents were no longer recognized, and so on and so forth. And those guys are pretty much the only ones that still do any agriculture in Romania. Now there has been a lot of European funding, so there are a couple of people that are kind of starting their business or expanding it. Usually that's what it is, you know. A parent that already has a farm, a pretty big one, and knows how things work, will help the child to get European funding to start their own business, which is gonna be annexed to their parents' business, so it's basically gonna be an expansion of the parents' business. And you have a lot of families that have like chain luxury hotels and stuff like that, and the child having also its own luxury hotel. Okay, and I got pretty much all of the base colors down. I can start with the backgrounds. have to say that page 42 is kind of my favorite out of all the pages that I've done. But it took so long, it took me so long to do it, to color everything. I can't imagine how long it must have taken you to draw all of the lines for it. Looking back on it, it looks really nice. I'm happy I did it. Oh wait, this one, and then I'm gonna go lighter and lighter. Oh no, I clicked on the Lineart. Where did I click on it again? Oh well, leave it that. I miss having a garden. Oops, wrong layer. I used to have one, but they tore it apart, sadly. In fact, you know what? I'll erase this one. I don't know, it just always seems really nice for me to kind of be outside and get some sunshine. I guess it comes from living in a capital and like being surrounded by concrete buildings all the time. Like my mom grew up on a farm and she didn't wanna live on a farm anymore, and I can definitely agree it's a lot of work. I had a friend in college who also came from a sheep farm, and she was like, never again. I don't wanna clean after any more sheep. But here in the US, it's become really trendy to have like a small beehive or a little chicken, and like have fresh eggs every day. And there are actually laws in the US that forbid you to keep a chicken for nutritional purposes in the suburban area. You are not allowed to have chickens You're also not allowed to grow any vegetables on your front yard, lawn. Like, it has to be a lawn. And again, to me, all of these laws are really weird, because I come from a country where these laws do not exist. Like, what do you mean I can't grow a chicken in my own backyard? I can't grow tomatoes in my front yard? Like, what's this madness? Also, there are laws in here in the US. Uh, well, they were forbidding. I'm trying to remember, because there were a lot of things that you're not allowed to do. Oh, shops. So you can't have a shop in your building. If it's a residential area, you cannot open like a little shop in your building. You can't open like shop that sells food or that cuts hair. You cannot do this. Yeah, I mean, I can understand for chickens being, you know, this fear of, I don't know, maybe bird flu or something like that, but I mean, you can have a parakeet and that's still a bird and you can get sick. I mean, it's not for commercial purposes. Like, it's a person that grows 1 or 2 chickens in their backyard. Like, that is not allowed. I don't know if it's the same thing in Romania. I've never come across this law. And again, for the vegetables, like, that just seemed really weird. In some places, you cannot even plant trees. Like, you have to keep it a lawn. Oh, you opened one of the jams? Ah, oh, congrats. And it tastes good. I'm so happy for you. Found it. No, I wanted the other one, because maybe I changed the colors a bit. Yep, there it is. So yeah, if it's a residential area, like most suburban places are, you cannot open like a little shop at the corner of the street. Oh, with blackberry. Yeah, I love those. I'm so happy I found a Jordanian shop like an hour drive from me, and they have Mediterranean food, like Italian, Arab, you name it, whatever is around there. They have it, and I'm so happy because I have like normal preserves now. Like a lot of things that are I consider normal tasty food, I can get it now. I mean, I can't tell you how annoying it was not to have normal jams and stuff like that, because the American jellies are just super weird and I don't like them. Oh, there are a bunch of lines missing here, now I realize. There is Parmigiano Reggiano cheese in that shop. Reggiano cheese in that shop. I don't know, cause I don't usually eat that much Italian cheese. My husband is the Italian cheese fan because he lived in Italy, he worked in Italy for a while, and so he's the expert of the family. I mean, he introduced me to Parmesan. I'm not sure exactly how you guys call it. Because I didn't used to eat that. It's not a Romanian or Turkish food, so I didn't know about it. And at first, when I smelled it, I was like, hell no, I'm not eating this. It's stinky feet cheese. And he was like, no, 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 put it on your spaghetti. It's really good. And I was like, no, go away. I'm not eating that. It smells like horrible. And he was like, and he told me, you know, you eat Roquefort and Camembert, but you won't eat this. You don't know what's good. And I thought, okay, okay, I will taste your Parmesan stinky cheese. And I put it on the food and it was good. I was like, okay, you were right, you were right, I admit it, you were right. For once. Also, he was right about the pickled cauliflower and the sushi here in America. I was surprised. In Romania, the sushi was absolutely horrible, horrible, and I tried to eat some in Japan, but they didn't give me sushi. They gave me sashimi, which never again. Like raw calamari is just horrible. Like I don't know how those people can eat raw calamari. It's horrible. It's like chewing weird plastic with seawater. Parmigiano. Like I usually get some French cheese, goat cheese that's similar to um, Romanian telema. That looks like feta cheese. Like let me show you. So this is telema, and is the best cheese in the world. The bestest cheese ever, ever, ever. This bagged thing is garbage. It's absolutely garbage. I've tasted it in the one from Hochland. They're not even Romanian. This cheese is so good. It's so creamy and tasty. Oh. Raw salmon. Usually the salmon in sushi is not raw, is fermented. In sashimi it's raw, but I don't like it raw. Like there's also something with raw meat, like beef thick. Like they serve this in the Balkan area. Like why would you ever eat raw beef meat, raw pig meat? Like why? It's such a bad idea. There are like so many diseases that can quickly develop on it, and then like you have no protection on it. Like you have to go and buy it from a super sanitary and fresh place. Caciota was good when my father brought from work. Like I'm sure this cheese is in the rest of Europe, just not in the UK, because in Britain they have no idea what good food is, so I don't expect them to have it. I know I'm mean, but come on, like after tasting American food, I'm pretty sure that all the nasty rumors about British food being bad are true. Like after living here for 3 years, I'm sure it's all true. Every last word. Like, the only thing I can say is that it's true that the beef is better in America than it is in Romania. Like, that's it's true. The beef in Romania is really chewy and tough, and it's usually milk cows, so I can't expect it to be very good. America just has only cheddar as known cheese. Yeah, I think cheddar is a British cheese, maybe. Like, the British have their own cheeses as well. They're just a lot more sad. Yeah. Nah. That's not British cheese. Don't try and trick us. Where's the door? There we go. France has a large tradition of cheese, more the soft ones. Yeah, probably. I mean, it's very well known for its cheese. Romania is just known for vampires and mail order brides. The blue one that sticks is best. You mean Roquefort? I think that's a German cheese. Roquefort. I have no idea how it's written. Roquefort. Okay. And I think this one's the the green mold, and the other one is the blue mold, with the blue mold. So I have the Roquefort, and I forgot the other one. Ah, Gorgonzola. Okay. Because I was confused. Like, we don't have these cheeses in Romania. They're not traditional. So I was confused. What is Roquefort, Gorgonzola, and blue cheese? Like, you had a whole bunch of them. Yeah, I like it a lot. Like, we have a whole lot of them, and I wasn't sure exactly. So I think there are different molds, or is it the same bacteria or mold? I think it's a mold every time. So is it the same mold, or are they using different types of mold? With mascarpone. I haven't tried it with mascarpone. To be honest, all the mascarpone that I ever ate was here in the US, and I didn't like it at all. So I don't know if it's an issue with the mascarpone here or what the problem is. Yeah, the milk is definitely different. That could be it. It's good for tiramisu or with gorgonzola. Thank you for telling me. I will try that. It sounds really tasty. Like so much fatty dairy products. I love them. So how am I supposed to eat it? Do I just mix it with the gorgonzola, mascarpone and gorgonzola, and that's it? I don't do anything else to it? I mean, I was looking on the internet and I recently discovered the camembert with apples and you put them in the oven. I don't know if you know it. I had eaten this years ago in Bratislava when I went there, and it tasted so good that I tried to do it again, and I looked on the internet. No, I was asking how do I prepare the gorgonzola with mascarpone. So let's see, I did this thing kind of camembert with apples in the oven, and this was really good. Here they mix one state of gorgonzola, one of mascarpone, and so on. But isn't that like too fatty? Like, don't you have to like put something else on it? With what else do you eat it? Like bread or apples or what? How do you eat it? Because I mean, the camembert, baked camembert with the apples, like the apples really make it edible, so it's a lot more easier to eat it. Because otherwise, it's just too fatty if you just eat it with bread. Oschata, chata. It's okay. Spread on bread and that's it. Now, I don't know what that word is. Let's see if I can copy paste it, see what it is. Chata. Okay, so it's kind of this flatbread thing. I think we have that here at the supermarket, but it's not great. So I'm gonna try and make one at home, see if I can do it. I ate this at a picnic. One of my husband's colleagues is Italian, and he made one of these things, and they were just so good. And I was really sad that he didn't do it the next year as well. He got lazy. He just brought some burgers from the supermarket. These American burgers, most of them are really bad. It's pronounced schiacciata. Okay. Schiacciata. See if I can remember that. What does the word mean? Like, does it mean flat bread? Or something? What's this? Might have been the other leg. leave it there. I don't know what it is. Figure out later. Also focaccia, yes, means flatbread. Ah, focaccia. Okay, focaccia I know. What's the difference between scacciata and focaccia? Ah, the leg behind. Okay. Then it needs another line because it can't be that thin. So I'll just erase this here and let's say it overlaps. I think we use strutto in it while focaccia has another type of fat in it. Strutto. Strutto. What is strutto? Strutto. Lard. Pig fat. Sounds tasty. I do love my pig fat. I don't think this leg is sitting normally, but oh well. The layers are merged, so I can't. Because it should be, I think, to one side, because you made it a bit wider on top. And it would sit on the legs, like it would need to be 2 legs. I'm gonna have to erase that. Now I realize it's not sitting normally, that chair, because now it should be in repose and on. It should be stationary. It's like no longer falling. No, it's too much of an effort. I'll just take the other layers from the back and just erase this one completely. And I'll put the background from before. Yep, so it's 5 and 9 minutes and I've got pretty much everything done for the base colors. I just have to do the shading and the speech bubbles, and I will do that next stream. June, I'm trying to spread the Italian food names. They sound funny, like to me they sound funny, I don't know. Because a lot of them end the same way, and a lot of the words are very similar, so it sounds funny to me. Like it sounds like words that you can put into poetry and it will rhyme. So anyway, thank you for watching and teaching me about the secrets of eating gorgonzola. See you next time.